Adults 4, Unit 9A, the third conditional. Let's take a look at the third conditional together, but I recommend you watch the videos on the first and second conditionals before you watch the video here about the third. It will help you to understand it a little better. But the third conditional, there is no fourth, by the way, no fifth, no sixth. The third, this is it, right? The third conditional is about an imaginary situation from the past, right? An imaginary situation from the past. We usually use third conditional sentences to talk about how things could have been different in the past for hypothetical and imaginary situations. Example, yesterday I got up late and I missed my train. That's not conditional, that's just the past. That's a real situation. But let's imagine a different past. If I hadn't got up late yesterday, I wouldn't have missed my train. Did I miss the train? Yes, I did. Why? Because I didn't get up on time. However, if I had woken up on time, I wouldn't have missed my train. It was possible for me to catch my train, but only under an imaginary situation where I got up on time. Okay, some examples. If I'd known about the meeting, I would have gone. Did you know about the meeting? No. Did you go? No. If James hadn't gone to the training course, he wouldn't have met his wife. You wouldn't have lost your job if you hadn't been late every day. Would you have gone to the party if you'd known Lisa was there? All of these situations are imaginary but based in the past. That's different to the second conditional, where the imaginary situation is based in the present or future, right? The third conditional, the imaginary situation is based in the past. We're not talking about the real situation, we're talking about possible different situations in the past. So, what's the form? Well, the second conditional uses the past simple. If you knew about the meeting, you would go. But so we can't use the past simple again. We take a step back. And like in reported speech, we take a step back from the past simple to the past perfect. So it's if and past perfect, and then would, then have to show the consequence is in the past, and the past participle of the main verb shows that the consequence is in the past. The contraction of both had and would is apostrophe D. So be careful that you know when you are using had and when you are using would, because in writing, sometimes that's just a contraction. We can use might or could instead of would if we want to make the result less certain. So if it's maybe. For example, if she'd studied harder, she might have passed the exam, right? Maybe not would, but might have passed the exam. Okay, so this is the form. I'll write it again for us here. Our if clause, the situation, and the if is now with the past perfect in the third conditional, and the consequence has would plus have plus the past participle of the verb. If I had known about the meeting, I would have gone. Okay, let's do some practice questions. We have A, B, and C here. A little bigger. Yeah, in A, we match the phrases. For example, Billy wouldn't have injured his head. D, if he had worn his helmet. Okay, so pause and complete. There are 9 connections to make. Okay, let's check together. Number 1, if I'd driven any faster, I I could have gotten a speeding ticket. Number 2, John might have gotten the job. That's F. If he had been on time for his interview. Was he on time? No, he wasn't. He might have got the job if he had been on time. 3, she would have hurt herself badly if she'd fallen down the stairs. H, if Katie hadn't gone to the party, E, she wouldn't have met her new boyfriend. 5, what would you have studied if you'd gone to college? A. See here, we can make questions with the third conditional, just like we can make questions with first and second conditional. So now this is asking a question about the consequence that you didn't do in the past. You didn't go to college, but what would you have studied if you had gone? 7, if you'd worn, sorry, 6, how would you have gotten to the airport? J, if the trains had been on strike. 7, if you'd worn a warmer coat. B, you wouldn't have been so cold. 8, your parents would have enjoyed the trip. G, if they had come with us. And would you have helped me, number 9, if I'd asked you? See, again, a question here about the third condition. Okay, we will move to part C, where you complete the third conditional sentences with the correct form of the verbs. Again, I will write our formula here to help you. It's if plus past perfect and then would, have, and past participle for the consequence. For example, if Tom hadn't gone to college, he wouldn't have met Sarah. We see the verbs we're going to use here, 1 and 2. Both are negative. Okay, pause and complete 10 questions. Okay, here we go. Number 1, if you hadn't taken me to the airport, I would have missed my flight. Okay, the situation is past perfect, hadn't taken. Past perfect is had with past participle, hadn't taken. And then the consequence would plus have, that is always the same. Would plus have plus past participle. The past participle of a regular verb is the same as the past. So would have missed my flight. Number 2, we wouldn't have won the game if the referee hadn't given us a penalty. So just like with the other conditionals, you can start with the consequence and then the situation, but the grammar stays the same. The consequence with would plus have plus past participle, the situation with past perfect. Number 3, you would have enjoyed the weekend. You would have enjoyed the weekend if you had come with us. Come is an irregular verb where the present and the past participle are the same, but different from the past, right? Come, came, come. Number 4, if I hadn't bought the theater tickets online, they would have been more expensive. Remember, the past participle for be is been. Number 5, Mike would have forgotten his wife's birthday if she hadn't reminded him. So negative, we change had to hadn't to make it negative. 6, if the police had arrived 5 minutes later, they wouldn't have caught the thief. 7, if you hadn't lent me the money, this one is a bit longer. I wouldn't have been able to go away for the weekend. So be able to is the same as before, 3 words for one meaning, but the be changes to past participle. The able to stays the same as always. 8, you would have hurt yourself. Hurt is one of those irregular verbs where the present is the same as the past participle. If you had fallen off the horse. Number 9, we wouldn't have found the hotel if we hadn't seen the sign. And number 10, if I had known about the job, I would have applied for it. Hopefully you can see the writing. The spaces are a little small here. So to remember about third conditional, it's an imaginary situation that could have happened in the past but didn't. And if it had happened, what would have been the result? That's different to first and second conditionals. But there is a video in this playlist for first conditional, a video in this playlist for second conditional, and now this one for third conditional. Hope that helps. See you next time.